In this video, we're going to introduce combinatorics. We're going to talk about permutations and combinations with no repetition. We're going to talk about the difference between a combination and a permutation, and we're going to show how the formula are derived. Right, so firstly, what's the difference between a combination and a permutation? Well, with a combination, it doesn't matter in which order the items are arranged. So, for instance, if we have three letters, A, B, C, there's only one combination of those three letters. However, with a permutation, the order matters. So there are 6 permutations of the letters A, B, C because we can arrange those letters in 6 different ways. So what happens if we have 4 letters, A, B, C, D, but we only want to choose 3 letters from those 4? Well, there are going to be 4 combinations, as I've written down here, but for each of those combinations, there's going to be 6 different ways to rearrange those letters. So for ABC, you have 6 different permutations. For ABD, you have another 6 permutations, and so on. So in total, we have 24 different permutations. However, this is quite a lot of work to write them all out, especially when the numbers get bigger. So is there an easier way to do this? Yes, there is. So for the first letter that we want to choose, there are 4 letters to choose from. So we can choose the first letter in 4 ways. When we go to choose the second letter, we've only got 3 letters left to choose from. So we have 3 different choices. And likewise, we have 2 choices for the third letter. This means that there are 4 times 3 times 2 different ways to arrange 3 letters from the 4, which, as you can see, gives the correct answer of 24. The number of items we get to choose from we're going to call n, which here is 4, and the number of items we want to choose we're going to call r, which here is 3. I used smaller numbers here so you can see the workings out. However, to explain where the equation comes from is actually easier with slightly larger numbers. So we'll come back to this, but for now I just want to give a different example so we can see exactly where the equation comes from. So here we have 7 letters and we want to choose 3 items. So n would be 7 and r would be 3. And in a similar fashion to last time, there are 7 letters to choose from, so 7 different ways to choose the first letter. But then we've used one, so for the second letter we've only got 6 different choices left. And for the third letter we'll only have 5 choices left. So the number of permutations here is going to be 7 times by 6 times by 5. But can we write this in a different way? Let's first have a quick recap on factorials. So n factorial is n times by n take 1 times by n take 2 times by n take 3, etc. Basically, it means that if it's 5 factorial, it's 5 times by 4 times by 3 times by 2 times by 1. Right, so knowing this information, we can rewrite the equation as 7 times by 6 all the way down to 1 and divide it by 4 times 3 times by 2 times by 1, because then you can cancel out the 4 to the 1 on the top and the bottom. And if you look at this, you can see the top is 7 factorial or n factorial, and the bottom is going to be the number on the top minus the number of items that we've chosen, factorial or 4 factorial, which is 7 take 3 factorial or n take r factorial. I hope that was clear. So this means we can rewrite 7 times 6 times 5 as 7 factorial divided by 4 factorial, which is equal to n factorial over n take r factorial. So hopefully, if you've understood that, you won't have to learn the equation. Now we've explained where the equation comes from, we're going to go back to the original example again. So if we do the same to this example, we'll get 4 factorial on the top because it's n factorial, and we'll get 1 factorial on the denominator because it's 4 take 3 or n take r factorial on the bottom. And this gives us 4 times 3 times 2, which is again 24. We get the correct answer. So this is using the formula for permutations, which is n factorial over n take r factorial. But what about combinations? How do we work those out? Well, if we take the first combination here, ABC, we can see that there are 6 different permutations for that, because that's the same as effectively saying we have 3 letters and we want to choose 3. So we have 3 ways to choose the first letter, 2 ways to choose the second letter and 1 way to choose the third letter, which is the same as 3 times 2 times 1 or 3 factorial. This is also going to be the same for the next combination ABD and the next one ACD, etc. So this means that if we get the number of permutations and we divide it by r factorial, we should get the number of combinations. So for this example, it would give us 4 factorial over 3 factorial, 1 factorial. So although the ones don't make a lot of difference here, we'll cancel them out. But also you can see the 3 times 2 will cancel out with the 3 times 2 underneath. So the answer is just 4. As I'm trying to keep these videos as short as possible, I don't actually have time to put more examples here, but they will be coming in following videos. So thanks very much for watching. I hope this helps. And if you could like and subscribe, I'd really appreciate it. Okay, see you on the next one.